It started with silence. The kind of silence that feels heavy, like the air itself is judging you. Maya sat on the edge of her bed, bills scattered across the floor, a job rejection email glowing on her cracked phone screen. She'd tried everything, extra shifts, side jobs, applications, and yet it always felt like the world was 2 steps ahead and she was running barefoot, trying to catch up. There were nights she cried quietly so her younger sister wouldn't hear. She had promised their late mother she'd take care of her. But now, even dinner felt like a daily miracle. Everywhere she looked, people seemed to be doing better, smiling, posting, succeeding. And all she could think was, what's wrong with me? She didn't know that in the middle of that pain, something was forming inside her, a kind of strength that only desperation can build. Lesson 1. You don't grow in comfort, you grow in chaos. The world doesn't shape you with ease. It shapes you with edges. Maya's nights of struggle weren't punishment. They were preparation. When everything falls apart, it's not the end. It's the workshop where strength is built in silence. Because the people who inspire the world tomorrow are the ones who refuse to quit today. Weeks passed. One evening, Maya met Mrs. Claire, an elderly woman who lived in her apartment building. Claire noticed Maya's tired eyes and offered her tea. "You look like you carry the world," she said kindly. Over that tea, Maya opened up about everything: her failures, her fears, her guilt. Mrs. Claire smiled. "Child, you think you're failing because you're fighting alone. But the fact that you're still standing means you're winning." That night changed something in Maya. For the first time, she realized that maybe her worth wasn't tied to her current results. Maybe it was tied to her persistence. Lesson 2. Sometimes, all you need is one believer. One voice saying, "You can drown out 1,000 doubts." We all need that reminder that our value isn't measured by success, it's proven by survival. The right encouragement at the right time can turn exhaustion into energy. Life didn't magically improve. In fact, it got worse before it got better. Her hours were cut at work. Her landlord raised the rent. She felt like she was losing the battle against life. One night, after being turned down for a promotion she desperately needed, she walked home in the rain, tears mixing with water. She sat on the curb, ready to give up. Then she remembered Mrs. Claire's words, "If you're still standing, you're still winning." She laughed bitterly, whispering, "Well, I'm sitting, that counts, right?" But in that moment of humor, she felt something new, the faintest spark of resilience. And sometimes, that's all it takes. One spark to remind you you're not done yet. Lesson 3. You don't have to be strong all the time. You just have to keep showing up. Strength isn't the absence of tears. It's the decision to keep moving despite them. The people you admire didn't skip pain. They learned how to walk through it. If you can survive the breaking, you're already building. For months, Maya worked quietly. She started a small blog about perseverance, stories of people who had faced struggles and risen above them. At first, no one read it. No comments, no likes. But she kept writing, because every post helped her heal. Every story reminded her that she wasn't alone in her fight. One night, a woman messaged her, "Your story about rejection saved me. I was planning to end it all tonight, but your words reminded me there's hope." Maya cried that night, not from sadness, but from realization. Her pain had found purpose. Lesson 4. The story you're living might save someone else's life. Your scars tell the truth people are afraid to admit. And when you share them, others find courage in your honesty. Every struggle carries a message, but only if you survive long enough to tell it. Maya's blog began to grow. People from all over wrote to her, sharing their own struggles and victories. What started as her therapy became her ministry. She got invited to speak at a local event, terrified. She almost said no, but she remembered how many people had found hope through her story. So she stood up and told the truth. I'm not successful because I stopped struggling. I'm successful because I didn't let it break me. The audience stood in silence, then erupted into applause. It was the first standing ovation of her life for surviving. Lesson 5. Your purpose often hides behind your pain. The very thing you thought would destroy you might be the reason others look up to you. Pain repurposed becomes power. Maya's struggle was never wasted. It was seed planted deep in the soil of hardship, waiting for the right time to bloom. Months later, Maya looked in the mirror and didn't recognize herself, not because of makeup or clothes, but because of peace. She had turned her wounds into wisdom. She had started mentoring young women, facing the same battles she once fought alone. And one day, while helping a single mother through eviction, the woman hugged her and whispered, "You were my light when I had none." That sentence stayed with Maya. She realized she had become to others what she once needed for herself. Lesson 6. Healing is not just about you. It's about who you become for others. When you rise, you lift more than yourself. When you heal, you become hope for those still hurting. The greatest evidence of growth is when your strength starts saving others. With growth came pressure, opportunities, interviews, expectations. People looked at Maya as an inspiration, but inside, she still battled doubt. She had to remind herself daily, I'm not healed because I'm perfect. I'm healed because I choose peace over panic. She started a foundation, Tomorrow's Light, offering mentorship and mental health support for struggling women. But even then, nights of fear returned. What if I fail again? Yet each time, she remembered. She had already survived her worst days. Everything after that was just bonus strength. Lesson 7. Growth doesn't erase fear. It teaches you how to face it. Courage isn't a feeling. It's a choice. Every new level of success will test you again. But this time, you'll recognize the voice of doubt and know how to silence it. Years passed. Maya's story reached schools, prisons, and shelters. Her speeches touched people who had never believed they'd be seen. She began to receive messages like, I was homeless. Your words made me start over. I lost my job, but you reminded me to fight again. There won. She realized that she wasn't just inspiring others, she was building a legacy of hope. Her past had become her passport to helping others find direction. Lesson 8. The purpose of pain is reproduction to birth strength in others. You're not going through what you're going through just for yourself. Your endurance becomes someone's blueprint for survival. The cycle of struggle ends when you choose to turn your suffering into service. On her 40th birthday, Maya returned to the street where she once sat crying in the rain. It looked the same, but she was not. She stood there, whispered a prayer of gratitude, and left a bouquet of flowers with a note that read, "To the next person sitting here, this pain won't last forever." Lesson 9. You honor your past by forgiving it. Don't hate your story. It built your strength. Don't resent your pain. It revealed your purpose. Maya's greatest gift to herself wasn't success, it was peace. She stopped needing the past to be different and started using it as her testimony. Years later, Tomorrow's Light had expanded internationally. Thousands of lives had been touched. Maya stood before a crowd of graduates from her foundation, people who had once wanted to give up. Tears filled her eyes as they held candles in honor of their transformation. She smiled and said, "I once thought my life was over, but now I see every struggle I faced was a lesson I was meant to teach." Remember this: your struggle today is someone's motivation tomorrow. The crowd erupted, and somewhere in the back row, a young woman whispered, "One day, I'll tell my story too." Final lesson: you are living the testimony someone else is praying for. Your struggles, your tears, your nights of doubt, they are not wasted. They're becoming chapters in someone else's survival guide. So don't hide your journey. Don't be ashamed of your story. Because one day, someone will look at you and say, "Because of you, I didn't give up." What part of this story spoke to your heart the most? Share your thoughts in the comments. Your story might be the hope someone needs tonight. Subscribe to Motivational Dose for more true life stories that remind you pain passes, purpose stays. Turn on notifications so you never miss your next story of strength. Share this video with someone fighting their battle. Remind them that today's pain can become tomorrow's purpose.